Well, hello and welcome to the Cool JDM show, streaming live on Pacific Coast Auto.
But Abs,
what up?
Just how cool is it?
Man, so cool I describe it as frigid, cooler than a penguin soaking in an ice bath.
Damn, that's cool.
Yep, you're right about that. Cooler than a Fonz, fixing an appliance with nothing more than a smack to the side of it. I'm talking cooler than cool, cooler than a February cannonball into a pool. So cool, indeed, so cool that it's cold.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The Cool JDM show.
Good afternoon or good evening. Welcome to the Cool JDM Show with your host, Derek Weldon. Named the Cool JDM Show because we consider ourselves plenty cool. Isn't that right, Maximilian?
Yes, I guess you could say so.
So welcome to the show, everybody. We have a ton of really interesting things for you to listen to through your ears while you're washing the dishes. We also have Grant on the backup microphone here to make sure that we're not lying to you about anything.
Ayo.
And Grant has some excellent car picks this week.
I'm excited.
He totally pulled at my heartstrings for the cars that are coming up for auction. We got three of them for you, and they are all very cool. So, what are we talking about today? Actually, I've switched things up a little bit, so our list of topics says the main topic first.
Oh.
Again, because
Changes.
I think it is super important for anyone who's watching this video for the first time. You know, they've been browsing YouTube and we're like, you know what? I do want to know how to buy cars from Japanese auction.
Yeah.
So, every question that a first-time auction buyer is going to ask, that is our main topic.
And we put together a long list of every question we get all the time.
Because we are so cool. Next, for the first time, some solid information about the new Celica. I have been waiting decades for this, quite honestly. Also, because Celica is the topic, we have old Celica news. There is an old Celica that's coming up for auction tomorrow, and it might even be better than the new one. Because it is insanely cool.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely cool.
And then we've got three distinct Corollas that are coming up for auction either today or tomorrow. We will show you those ones. There is the rarest GTR in the world.
At auction.
Coming up for auction tomorrow.
Ooh.
Actually, you know what? That's a little bit of a lie. The Z-Tunes theoretically are rarer.
Mm-hmm.
But the Z-Tunes were a post-production remake. What Nissan did is they took... they bought some used cars and then restored them and then sold them as new cars. So if you take those ones out of the equation, the rarest GTR in the world.
You won't believe the starting price of this one.
Insane, right?
Yeah.
And then we're going to be talking about Sung Kang's Drifter movie. It has kind of been in the car community circles. It has been gaining a little bit of traction. We don't yet know when it comes out, but we will be talking about that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And an update on the JDM tree.
Oh.
Because we know what kind of tree it is now.
Nice.
I spent like half an hour looking it up the other day. And then, of course, as usual, we've got questions and answers for anyone who wants to buy cars from Japan and ask questions. That's going to be at the end of the show. Feel free to ask your questions throughout the show.
I will do my best.
Keep track of them. We are a little short on questions this week because we usually have some in the comments section. But last week, we were talking about wheels. And then people didn't think, oh, I got to put on my auction buyer's cap when thinking about the wheels. And so, therefore, there were no questions. We will, just a little bit of a heads up, we will be talking about the wheels again next show as the part 2 of the wheel tier list that we started last week, but we ran out of time. But we figured we'd mix it up a little bit with something that's a little bit more auction-oriented.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's the idea.
So jumping first into our main topic. So we export cars from Japan, and here is what everybody asks us. Now, we went through our emails, and we threw every email that we have into a sophisticated algorithm called Grant's Brain, and then pulled out what people always ask in their first emails.
Or
people
phone
contact
calls.
us. Yeah, and they're like, hey, tell me some information about this. And this is every one of those questions compiled into a great massive list, and then we'll answer those questions.
Yeah.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Where else are you getting this kind of value?
I mean, Grant's algorithm, his brain, always works very well.
I think it would be very, very cool if maybe ChatGPT could go through our last 100,000 emails and find the actual and rank them. But I don't know if technology can do that.
But you also don't want to share that information with Google or OpenAI.
Why?
Customer data?
Why? Actually, I don't know too much about that kind of stuff. That's more your foray.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just jump into this. And Max, you ask the questions and I will answer them. And we have a number of questions. We can't go into too much detail for all of them. So if you do want more information about anything, there is the question section at the end where we can further elaborate on those things. So feel
Or in
free.
between, if it fits, we will just interact with the chat.
Yeah, get your fingers all warmed up for that.
So, these are, I guess, not in any super particular order.
Right.
I think the most important question comes last.
I'm going to view that with my eyes.
And
You did that, didn't you?
yes, I did.
All right. Go ahead. Ask me questions.
I want to make the viewership happy.
Also, I'm going to say I didn't prepare for this at all. This is all going to be from the top of my dome.
Which he definitely can do.
We'll hope. We'll see.
Yeah. So, first question, and this is a really common one that we receive by email, but also if I talk to people, that's one question that always comes up. How much is this make and model in
Right.
Japan?
And so obviously you have a set budget for how much money that you have, and you want to know how much you can get a certain car for, which is going to be a different price from how much those cars sell for in your country, because people who are bringing them in are usually bringing them in for profits, usually somewhere around 2,000 to 3,000 US dollars is the approximate amount of profit that people are getting by importing these cars. And that's like a little bit of an Easter egg there, because some people are thinking, can I do this for profit? And the answer is yes, you can, and we can help you with that, of course.
Yep.
The hat and the headphones is a bit of a weird combination, but my hair is wild today. I can't really do.
There was a
hat.
discussion in the chat about your hat. What kind of hat is it?
It's a sports hat. I got it as a gift from a customer.
So is it Chicago or is it Hiroshima?
It's Chicago Bears. They do baseball things.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so first off, you can ask us how much a car is going to be landed, and we will gladly answer that. That's probably the easiest way for you to get that answer. You send us an email and you say, I'm interested in this car. How much are they? And then we can give you a range, like on the low end, it's this much, and on the high end, it's this much, and how much money do you have? And that will get you a low one, or that'll get one a high one, or here's some other different cars that you can get that compare to it.
Mm-hmm.
These sorts of things are all very common types of questions that our sales reps are answering all the time. So we're pretty well versed in that. If you want to try to figure things out yourself, you can actually go into our auction tool, which anyone has access to, whether you've like sent us a deposit or anything like that. And actually we have it available for us to go through as we answer these questions.
The what?
Our website.
No, we don't.
The
but
auction.pacificcoastjdm.com. You can make an account. You just need a username and an email, and then it'll email you the login, and it can be done in like a minute. And then you can browse the auctions, and you can see prices for yourself if you want. That doesn't.
The audio. Okay, the audio is back.
Fixed it.
Interesting.
So there's the cost of the. You can't hear me because I can hear you.
I can't. Did you guys have audio still while I wasn't hearing any audio? Audio's back, audio out. So it wasn't just me.
Oh, wow.
So,
Lame.
Interesting. I hope it's not when I
You know how before the show I said that you're too smart to work at PCA? I take it back.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I just totally threw you under the bus.
So it cut out. I don't know why.
To try to be funny.
I opened. This is Mike's fault.
Yeah. It's funny. We had the staff meeting the other day, and then I brought up something that I normally would have said in front of Mike, which would have been fine. But the fact that Mike wasn't there to defend himself, I felt a little bit bad saying it. But also, Mike's a big boy. He can handle it.
Okay. Sorry that the audio went out, and we'll see. It's not like I know where it comes from, but at the moment we are okay. Do you want to look at the auction?
So you can look at the auction tool to see how much cars sell for in the back end. But that's not the full landed cost of things, and the cost varies by country, and shipping is different, import taxes are different, and all of that. But you can yourself, if you have a good idea of the rule of thumb about how much it costs to ship a car, generally speaking, kind of $3,000 to $4,000 US on top of the cost of the car for first time for everything.
So this is here. It seems to be like an OBS glitch, because the mixer is fine. This mixer works okay. I have an idea.
So you guys can't see Max real time trying to solve technical problems live on air. Once again, where else are you getting this kind of interesting edge of your seat kind of content?
So the secondary mixer is disconnecting all the time, and one of the ports is on the extension cord doesn't work. So maybe it's that, and I changed the plugin.
Okay, so it might be good now.
Yeah.
When will the new site be live? That's a great question. We'll answer that at the end of the show. We don't actually know yet, but we're hoping, crossing fingers, 2 weeks, 3 weeks for the new site to be rolled out.
We have an outline of a plan.
Don't you dare. So yeah, for how much is this car, we'll get you the best answer for that in an email if you are curious about that. So on to the question number 2, if you don't mind.
Yep. The question number 2 is, can you source me make and model?
Okay, so this question should be pretty easy. Japan has access to pretty much every car worldwide, but naturally the cars that were originally sold in Japan as brand new cars are going to be a lot easier to source from here. Otherwise, you'd have to scrounge the auctions for a car that has been imported, which you can do. Like, there are cars like the Audi RS2 that wasn't available in Japan to begin with, but plenty of them were imported here, so you can find them. Mm-hmm. Generally speaking, this question should be yes for 98% of the cars, unless you're looking at something weird like a Hyundai or a Chinese car, like things that people aren't importing to Japan.
Yeah. One important addition here, though.
Hi, Grant.
Hello. Aren't you guys glad you gave me a button? One important addition on this point is we don't offer a personal shopper service. We don't search for cars on behalf of customers. So if you're coming in asking to place an order for a vehicle and expect that we will find that for you, send it to you, get your okay on it, and then buy it for you, that is one thing that unfortunately we don't have enough staff to have the availability to fairly offer.
You make
to
it sound
people.
like it's a bad thing, but
the flip side of that is you get the control. So
that too, but where I was going to go is that's what our customers are doing. So like you buy directly from us and then you get the lowest possible price, which means you do the legwork. And if you don't want to do the legwork, then a lot of the people who buy from us do offer these sorts of services, like dealers in your country. They'll help you to do the actual searching, but you're going to be paying an extra, $1,000 or maybe $1,500 as a result of them doing that extra work for you.
Mm-hmm. So generally every car can be sourced here. Sometimes, though, it might not be the cheapest car in Japan. If it was before it was imported to Japan.
Yeah, that's a whole other question. Like, if a car was imported from the USA to Japan, is it still going to be worth importing back to the USA? It really depends on the type of car and what the value is here in Japan. There are certainly a lot of cars that are more expensive here than they are in other countries, but generally speaking, it's a very slim few. Like recently, especially, wages in Japan have been pretty low. Cost of living here is pretty low, and as a result, the buying power just isn't strong enough to compete with a lot of countries. So you'll find that almost every car is going to be cheaper in Japan than in most other other countries that we export to.
Okay, the next question is, do you ship to my country? And now's the internet. Wow. So let's see. Dropped frames, 360. I think we're back though.
Okay, I'll just go ahead and answer then. So, do you ship to my country? There are a lot of countries around the world, and we'll answer as best as we can in an email. But at the end of the day, it's up to you as the importer to be responsible to know all the ins and outs of importing. And so it is very crucial that you go onto the internet and do some research for what is able to be imported. As a general rule, there's usually certain types of cars that you can import. There might be extra taxes on certain cars that are like poor emissions or something like that, and it does get complicated. So make sure that you check for your country. And that's really one of those areas, like I said, we're wholesale selling to you. And somebody who imports cars into your country absolutely knows that, whereas because we export to pretty much every country around the world, it's not really information that we keep on the top of our head for every country.
But that's the gist of the answer. We do ship to almost every country.
As long as you can import, we can ship to you.
As long as you can import, we can ship.
What's next?
Will you help me register my car once it arrives?
If we can give advice off the top of our head for how to register, we absolutely will. Like, we've got pretty good knowledge about Canada and USA because we know those countries. I think we're pretty good for Europe as well. Most European countries all have a fairly shared import criteria, and then each country has their own registration criteria. So again, it gets a little bit confusing. And you're laughing because in Germany, it sucks, right?
The TÜV is the biggest. The importing process to Germany, I don't think is that bad. It's quite straightforward, but getting the TÜV is the difficult issue.
Right. And then like registration, there are companies that specialize in the imports. So like if you... there might be like a import car specialist. And even though you're buying from us, you can still contact them and say, I'm importing the car. If I pay you money, can you register this for me and get it through the compliance, or what information can you tell me? And some people do that in some of the countries that are a little bit more challenging. I think for the most part, most countries, you can register the car yourself as long as you're okay just Googling a bit and calling around a bit. And then some countries, it's just as easy as it is to register any used car. You just give your paperwork to the guy and say, register, please. So it highly depends. We can help where we can, but this is something that's the responsibility of your end to keep up to date. And that's why you're saving the money.
Yeah, I recently, too, a friend of mine was asking if we can purchase a car for him in the USA. And that was one of his first questions, like, up to which point do I get support from you?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Up until the point where the car is exported. We'll give you advice afterwards, but our job is buying the car, exporting the car to you, and your job is importing the car. Yeah. And it's not going to be the way that we think everybody should be purchasing. For certain, there are, like, we sell to dealerships, and their job is to act as the in-between to make it a little bit easier, right? And
sometimes you guys even say to people who contact us, like, hey, we think it might be the smarter choice for you to not do this, which many people seem to appreciate.
I think the wording is maybe a little bit different because that wording makes it sound like, I think you're too dumb to be doing this. But
yeah, this is not what I wanted to say.
The thing is like not everybody is suitable for a wholesale purchase if what they're looking for is something that's a little bit more streamlined. And so that goes without saying. Not everybody wants to do the wholesale way.
Next question. Can you do third-party inspections?
So we've talked about this before in the show, and we will briefly talk about it here. There are a bunch of extra little caveats to this, and so it makes sense to watch some of the other shows to get a better understanding of this question. But the answer is yes, we can do inspections. Most of the auctions here in Japan offer a third-party inspection, i.e. not the buyer and not the seller, right? So the auction itself acts as the third party, and they'll do inspections at a paid rate for that. This is what most of the car exporters in Japan offer when they offer third-party inspections, but some of the bigger exporters will offer their own inspection that is done with their own staff. But that's not a third-party inspection.
It would be a fourth-party inspection.
No, that would be a first-party inspection because the company that's selling you something is also doing the inspection.
But the seller would be the seller of the vehicle at auction, right? So then if you go through another...
Well, okay, let me just clarify. What I mean by a first party is that there is a potential conflict of interest with an export company that's inspecting something that they're also trying to make a sale on. Because they might, if they really want to make the sale, it's like, oh yeah, that rust isn't so bad. You always got to wonder, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But if it's done by the auction house, maybe I should walk this back a little bit. If it's done by the auction house, it still goes through a filter of the exporter, then translating that information to you. So there's still a chance that exporter is like, that rust isn't so bad.
Yeah.
So, okay. So that said, the inspections exist. It is something that we can set you up with. We promise that we're not going to be messing around with the how trustworthy that information is. But there is also the question whether it is worth it for you as the buyer to go through the process of inspecting, because this does add some extra challenges to the purchase process and some extra costs to the purchase process. And if you become a skilled enough buyer, or if you have enough of an appetite for risk, it can be a better option for you not to get those inspections. And to give you an idea, most of the dealers that we work with full time and are importing over 100 cars per year, they're not getting these inspections because the costs and the inconvenience of doing them outweighs the benefits that they've found. Because for the most part, the auction inspector is pretty darn good at getting the inspection done, as long as you have a good understanding about what the inspection entails and what might be missed, these sorts of things. Again, great topics that we have talked about in detail on the show before. So go back to the old ones, or make sure you hit that subscribe button and watch the future ones, because we will be talking about those more, right?
Yep.
Everybody wants to know that.
Segue to the next question. Can I trust the auction sheet?
Right. There's a lot of conflicting information online. There are companies that make a good deal of their profit by offering these first-party inspections. And these companies want you to get the inspections done because they're going to profit more, right? Mm-hmm. And so... conflict of interest, don't like it, but these people will tell you must get the inspections because the auction sheets are not very trustworthy and you're an idiot if you don't do this. And then the buyers, they don't know any better because, of course, if somebody is saying, hey, be careful, you're going to trust that person who's telling you to be careful. Mm-hmm. But if you consider that these exporters can absolutely make more money on these inspections than they can on the sale of the cars, because us as car exporters, we're a little bit stuck. If we charge a really high price for our services, people are going to go elsewhere. This is a problem that we run into because we have a listed price on our website that is actually a very good value, but it includes other fees that are not included in other exporters' costs. And so other exporters are going to be advertising a lower price, and then it's like, sneak in this fee, and our transport is more expensive, and our shipping is more expensive, and overall you'll pay more, but we can list that really low price on our website to kind of...
Yep. That is marketing.
Unfortunately, that's how it works. Unfortunately, for me personally, I don't deal with that kind of BS, and so I'll take the hit just so that I don't have to be a dickhead to my customers. Our customers, I think the people who work here too also feel pretty good about that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
If you work here, you don't have to be an asshole when things get in trouble with your customers. So
it also speaks around Nicholas, my friend. Sometimes we do things together. That we meet people here, tourists that we run across that start talking to us, and then I say, "Yeah, I work at a car exporter," and then Nicholas oftentimes is, "Yeah, he works at one of the good ones." They will not do any BS with you. So,
oh, that's sweet.
It's very sweet, and it's just.
I think Nicholas is a cool dude.
Yeah.
Back to what we were saying. Can I trust the auction sheet? Our answer, and this comes from over 15 years of experience, is that the auction sheets are done in an unbiased way. My understanding is that there's no reason to believe that any of them are manipulated in any way. Sellers aren't able to manipulate the auction sheet in any way. This is my understanding, of course, that there is no way to prove this, but
it's the experience.
If I thought that were the case, I would tell everybody, and I just don't think that that's the case. And I think that for the most part, the auction sheets can be trusted, but you really have to understand the scope of these auction sheets. And there are a lot of little read between the lines type of things and skill that is required to really fully understand the auction sheet. So if you are wanting to...
Was that Grant just activating his microphone?
Oh, does it still make the little pop when I do that?
Yep.
I am announcing. Sorry, Derek, finish your thought.
Did you hear that? Or is that only in my headphones?
That was a truck by the window on the outside. The little sound.
That was very loud on my microphone.
Straight pipe trucks in Japan are a thing, and they are mega annoying.
Yeah, let me go shut the window out to the street.
Okay, finish your thought.
I can't remember what I was saying now. So reading between the lines on the auction sheet is something that is experience will get you, and then you can leverage our experience for helping you. So if you're a first-time buyer and you don't really know, like, how can I read between the lines? I don't have experience with this. You can always ask us. So if there's a car you're interested in bidding on, then you can type in an email, is there anything that concerns you about this car? And our sales reps will be completely straightforward with you.
Yep. The thing I wanted to add here, and I wanted to mention this because it's something that has actually happened to me, so like nobody is immune to this. If you interpret a sheet differently to its actual condition, that does not mean that the auction lied to you.
Yeah, good
But
point.
this happened to me with my Swift, actually. So the sheet had said there was a U1 in the rear fender, and the rear fender outer panel was dented. And when the car got dropped off, there is a very noticeable dent in the rear corner next to the hatch. The bumper's a little bit off, and it seems like somebody may have tried to push it back out. Like, it was a bit worse than I expected based on the sheet. But when I was looking back over the sheet afterwards, all that damage is still listed there. Mm-hmm. So it's not a case of anything being left off or anything being intentionally skipped to make it look better. I just misinterpreted the sheet. That happens to everybody.
It does happen every once in a while. And certainly the more experience you have, the less likely it is that something like that happens. But I think we're also in a really good position because we personally have seen like thousands of these cars, and compared to them to the auction sheet, you guys have seen on the channel, it's Derek from Pacific Coast Auto here to take a look at a Honda Odyssey for the 25th time.
Yep.
This is experience for you, and it helps you. There are also things that the auction inspector will miss. This is a numbers game. They're not going to hit everything. We have had some experiences that are what I would consider horrific, but at such low rates that it's generally not something that you have to worry about, but it's a risk you have to understand. You're not able to see the car yourself prior to purchasing, and so therefore you have to be okay with a little bit of flexibility in the condition. So,
what do you say percentage-wise is a percent that is surprising? Like, how many percent of
I feel like the longer I've done this, the more accurately I feel like I can understand this. I can look at an auction sheet and some pictures of the car, and I can generally understand the condition pretty well. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that I don't think that that's absolute. There's always going to be like, oh, I think that there's a decent chance that this is also broken that's not listed in the auction sheet. Like, here's a good example. If you see that there's corrosion on the body of a car, you can understand that the underside is probably going to have corrosion too, because cars will naturally corrode on the underside before they do on the painted surfaces on the car. Yep. Like, knowing cars and knowing the little ins and outs of cars and the idiosyncrasies and everything actually makes a difference. So the more experienced you as a buyer are with cars in various conditions, also this really helps too. To answer your question though, Max, I tend to say, and I've been saying this for a while, that about 80% of the cars are of the condition that you expect them to be, given all the information in the auction sheet. And then some of them, like 10%, are going to be in worse condition than you thought, and 10% are going to be in higher condition. So in 10 cars that you buy, there's going to be one in those 10 that's in worse condition that you thought by at least a significant margin. Like, there's going to be something pretty wrong with it.
That's a good guideline.
And then if you're getting cars inspected, are you going to be okay paying 10 times? Like, in order for those numbers to match up, you have to be okay with spending
on each of them to avoid
10 inspections for every successful time that they catch something.
Yeah.
So, and then how much is that worth? Are you still going to bid on that car? I will say that most of the time that we get inspections done on the cars, these people are still buying the cars, whether the inspection comes out good or bad, maybe adjusting the bid or something like that.
Okay, next question. Can I send a car back if it's not as good as I thought?
Yeah, you can, but you're still paying your service fee to purchase that car. So you're already out 100,000 yen on that plus transport. Depending on where you bought it from, this could be $1,200 that you have spent. And if you sell it back at auction, you're either going to get the same amount of money or in some cases slightly less, because most professional buyers will look at the history of the auction to see if that car has gone through recently. And if it has, they're going to be like, okay, this adds to the risk. And so prices are generally going to be a little bit lower. So if you're okay taking that hit, sure, we can do it, but we don't do it very often because most buyers, after they understand, like, we'll send you an email and here are your options and here's how everything works. But most buyers are like, okay, well, it seems like I actually stand a chance to lose less money by importing the car, selling it, and then getting something else. And for many of our buyers, that's the intent anyway. They like to import a car, drive it for 6 months, sell it, import a car, drive it for 6 months, sell it. It's a pretty common type of thing that many of our buyers do.
Yeah.
Pocket $5,000 each time you do that. It's not too bad.
How do I view the auctions?
Auction.pacificcoastjdm.com is our auction portal. You can make an account whether you are going to buy from us or not.
Yep. Also, I like to point out that on our website, which is not what I'm typing right now, here, this is the auction shortcut. If you click on this, you will come to this page and you can create an account.
There it is.
Next one, after I switch scenes in my trusty computer, is...
Trusty computer. The one that was dropping frames.
That was the mixer. It's not dropping frames. What auctions are the most reliable?
This was a full topic that we talked about previously on the show, and which auctions are the most reliable. And I think to someone without experience, it's a question that will naturally come to your mind. I don't want to buy a car from an auction that's not very trusted. We have over 100 auctions throughout Japan that we can buy from, and it's natural to think that some of them are going to be more skilled than others at what you're buying. However, we buy most of our cars as specialist vehicles. Like, most of them are older than 15 years old. We do a lot of either sports cars or 4x4s, or something that is not plentiful at the auction. By plentiful, I mean in one day there's not going to be 150 to choose from, like brand new cars are. There might be 7 to choose from on a certain day, and only one of them matches your criteria for what you're looking for in a car. And if that's the type of buyer that you are, you're not going to be picky with the auction, because you either bid on the car that you think is friggin' sweet, or you don't bid on it. And if you are going to be picky about the auctions, you're going to end up missing an awful lot of the cars. Specifically because USS auctions is about 80% of the sales that we do. USS auctions, I find their auction sheets are pretty fine, like most of the auctions. And there isn't any reason to believe that you should be avoiding that auction, because then you're avoiding 80% of all the cars in Japan. So while this question, I think, comes to mind as a natural question, the answer really is you shouldn't be avoiding any auction. And while we do internally believe that there are some auctions that are maybe a little bit less like detailed on their sheets, we can absolutely answer that if you do have the question, but I don't think any of them are weak enough from the mean that it's something that you actually have to know as a customer. Like, there certainly isn't an auction where we're like, whoa, avoid this auction at all costs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if it is worse, it might be 5 or 7% worse, or 10% worse, or something like that. I honestly wouldn't worry too much. And there are some auctions that are generally more detailed. I find that ones owned by Toyota and Honda tend to be pretty good with their inspections and pretty decently priced. Mind you, most of the great cars that you're buying from us will be from a USS auction, because USS is the big boys. They have the highest sales prices. So people who are selling their cars will naturally put the coolest, best cars into the USS auctions, like USS Nagoya on Friday, Tokyo on Thursday, Kobe on Saturday. Those are kind of like Yokohama on Tuesday.
There's a comment in the chat. At least the lesser ones give you an inspection.
I don't know what that means.
I'm guessing that's about the USS photo block. once you get set up with an account with us, we can usually get you those photos and
Always
the scan
get
of
you
the
those
USS
photos.
sheet back within 10 to 30 minutes during business hours.
Yeah, there's a follow-up question. Why is there only one picture on the listing? That is usually the USS.
Yeah, USS Auction House, they're the big guys, so they can push their weight around a little bit, and they will take our auction license away if we publicly show their car pictures.
Yeah.
And we don't want our auction license taken away, and so therefore we only show the blurry picture, which can't be identified as the same picture. USS seems to be okay with that, and then you want the inspection sheet and you want the pictures of it, you got to email us that. And if you are a non-customer just deciding if you want to be a customer, we can send you some of those pictures, but there has to be a limit to that, right? We can't be a service that's sending out pictures to people who don't intend to buy, as blunt as that sounds. And this benefits the customers too, because it does take us time to clip those pictures and send them out, and we need to be prioritizing those customers that are actually registered to buy and in the process of making that purchase.
Yep. Next one, and just as a reminder, questions in the chat come later. Cars at auction run and drive fine, right? It's a nice word.
I like the wording on that one.
Yeah.
Who was that put that one in?
That was Grant.
Grant, you didn't press your microphone on.
Sorry. Yeah, that was me.
Okay, so the auction, if the car doesn't run or drive properly, in most cases, that's going to be something that's mentioned on the auction sheet. However, you do have to understand that these inspections are not test drives, and there are certain things that you can only tell on a car if you have brought it up to temperature or you have test driven it. An example of this is if your car can't shift into fifth gear, there's no way for the auction inspection to notice this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In general, I would say that cars in Japan are in a better state of maintenance than they are in many countries around the world, because there is a bi-yearly inspection you have to pass, and this is used as an excuse for many shops to try to sell you everything underneath the sun. And so many cars are in a high state of tune. Not everything, though. A lot of people who do like modified cars, drift cars, these sorts of things tend to be like maintained either from a shop that's going to get them on the road for as cheap as possible, or by the driver even, might be maintaining their own car. Outside of like special cases, I would say that it's very, very, very unlikely that there's any sort of running problem with the car. If there is a running problem with the car, it's probably a very old car or a very modified car. Both of those cases absolutely increase the risk. With modified cars, you have to remember that most people aren't going to sell their car they just dumped 15 grand into until the car's starting to give them some problems. So if you see a car that has a ton of modifications, or an aftermarket turbo, aftermarket ECU, camshafts, close ratio transmission, beware of these cars. Like, you are getting a heck of a deal with getting all these great modifications, but you also have to be ready for a car that's going to give you little problems. And when the car has been modified, you're not going to have the history of the modifications of that to go, oh, well, why was this done this way? Or there was a jerry-rig fix for this sort of thing. You just don't know. So you're absolutely taking on an extra risk by taking someone else's project.
Why is this wire split, and why is there all of these terminals put onto that wire to go to the ECU box? I don't know.
Yeah. This comes down to having your own personal experience with cars, and if you've been around the block for a while, you know what is going to be considered risky. And that's why we get a little nervous when there's someone who is like, hey, I'm 17 years old and my parents have given me 20 grand to bid on a Sylvia. It's like, okay, well, we know that you're playing on hard mode, but for us to convince you that is a little bit of a hard ask. So there's only so much that we can do in that case.
Yeah.
We definitely can't have a policy where we're like, oh, well, we're worried about this purchase, so we're not going to sell to you, because that's just going to make customers angry with us. And then it's also going to, like, we can't stay in business if we're turning away everybody.
Yeah, but we can do our best to educate, and that's what also the show is for.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice come around there.
Also, Griff writes, no, the question wasn't because of your BB.
Right. That was a pretty unique situation, because the BB should have been a very low risk purchase because they're ultra reliable.
Yeah.
But that BB has some weird running problems, and I think it's just one broken piece, and then the car will be pretty much fine other than some paint work.
Yeah.
The video for that's coming up when?
I haven't scheduled them in yet. I need to render them and then schedule and then talk to you how we want to schedule these.
Probably 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, that's about right.
I can't wait for those new format videos to come up.
Yes.
We watched one like last night, right?
The first one that we have shot 5.
Because we're cool.
Yeah, and we'll shoot 2 today.
Because we're cool.
Very cool.
Including an Altezza Skyline.
Very cool.
With an RB26 from factory with no turbos, but still the ITBs.
And like a very good looking header.
From factory. Okay, back to...
What is our service charge?
Super easy. Our website says that. If you have emailed us, you've been on our website, and you just go to the link at the top that says pricing. The pricing section is very detailed. It has a lot of information on it. And the reason why is because it bothers me to no end when a company is selling something and they don't say how much it costs. And I understand, I get it. Once you have contacted a company, there's a higher chance that that customer is going to go with that company no matter what the price is. But that to me is just, it's gross. To me, it would mean I'm not going to even contact that company. You're not showing me how much your service costs. You're wasting my time. I'll go with somebody else. So we have a sheet here. You can scroll down, and it goes into detail. Because like,
state for the people who might be just on their headphones.
100,000 yen is our standard fee. There are other costs that come included in that. And so there's a breakdown here of what's included in the cost of that. It's quite difficult to compare one car exporter to another in terms of price. And for the most part, you don't have to worry too much about price because the price difference from one company to the next is not going to be that big. You do want to test on reputation and trustworthiness for the company that you're working with, because if something does go sideways, you need to make sure that they've got your back. I was just reading this morning about a car export company that's shipping their cars out 8 to 12 months after purchase, which is absurd.
It's a long time.
So this, and I know how this works. I know exactly how this works. The exporter is trying to export cars, but they can't get the paperwork for the cars that they've exported until they've paid for that vessel. So when they bring in a new customer, they take their deposit or they take their purchase money and then pay for somebody else's car that they bought 6 months ago to make sure that that one can be shipped.
Oh.
And so it's like take money from, because they don't have enough money. They're either paying themselves too much or they've run out of money somehow. And they're taking new customers' money to pay for their old customers, almost like a pyramid scheme. And unfortunately, you can't easily dig yourself out of that unless you lower your wage, or I don't know, you can't even get a whole bunch more customers to pay for that because of the way the tax system works here. It's like your company is circling the drain, and you want to make sure that you don't get somebody like that. And sometimes that means paying for the company that doesn't look as cheap at first glance. Even though I think the amount that we cost is quite reasonable for the service, because I'm sorry, but nobody in this company is getting rich.
Yeah. We're still doing good work. Do you want to break down more of the prices on the website?
I think that's we should go on to the next question. We can absolutely talk more about prices. If you have a question, put that into the chat or the comments section, and we can get to those later. Unless there's something that you thought that we should say.
I think no, not really. I mean, it's very detailed. You have everything that's included here, and then all of the examples, what's
optional extras and stuff like that
on top, and then examples here to ship a car to a specific place. Then the next question, and I do want to screenshot another one here. The next question is, what is the difference between the deposit and the service charge? Because at first glance, it's the same number.
Right. So the purchase process goes like this. You decide to sign up. You send in a signed terms of service agreement so you understand how our company works and what the liabilities are there. And you send in a security deposit. And the security deposit lets us know that you're serious enough to go through with the purchase, because if we bid on a car and we purchase it from auction, the auction is not going to allow us to back out of that. So we've just bought ourselves a new Ferrari if you back out. So we need to make sure that you're serious enough to send us in that money. The security deposit is held money of yours in our account until either you make a purchase, then it goes toward the invoice, or it gets refunded if you decide that you're not going to buy from us anymore, which happens from time to time. You are like, I want a new car, and you look through auctions, and then something comes up in your home country, and you got to buy that. Get your deposit back, put it toward that. What's the difference between the deposit and the service fee? The reason why this gets confused is because the deposit for the base level deposit is 100,000 yen, and the service fee is 100,000 yen.
Mm-hmm.
So because both of them cost the same, and because if you buy a car, that deposit will then pay for your service fee, it can be a little confusing as a result. But these are two separate things. The service fee is our profit. The deposit is your money held by us until you make a sale, and then it goes toward the invoice.
The service fee is not our profit. It's
Right,
our
because-
cost.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. The service fee is from which we derive our profit from.
That is correct, yeah.
This is how we get paid. Not through selling auction inspections.
So just to make it
Or
clear,
marking up shipping, or marking up transport, or just stealing your friggin' money, which happens. Or
At
marking
other
up the
expos.
auction costs.
Mm-hmm. So the deposit is always refundable, right?
Sure, there is a fee to get it transferred back, which sometimes I worry about. We charge a 5,000 yen fee to transfer the money back, and
So that
I
is-
do worry if some people are like, wow, they're trying to take the money from us. And I worry about these things all the time. But honestly speaking, most of the customers that sign up with us and then go through the process of translating and bidding have a much higher cost to our company than just that 5,000 yen. Because 5,000 yen pays for, a few hours. Let's say 2.5 hours of work. But we'll commonly do way more than 2.5 hours of work in the onboarding, the training, the translating, the bidding.
So the 5% cost for
5%?
getting the deposit back.
5,000 yen.
5,000 yen, sorry. The 5,000 yen is only when you send in a deposit and then you decide to not purchase a car.
And have it sent back. Otherwise, there's no fee, right? That'll just be applied to the invoice.
Okay. But if you don't want to apply it to the invoice, you can just keep it with us.
Right. Like if you're going to be purchasing a ton of cars, you can keep the deposit with us for future purchases. And then there's a higher deposit amount for more expensive vehicles too. The 5,000 yen fee is no matter what the deposit amount is. Like we've got one dealer that buys super high-end cars, and they've got a very high deposit with us. And if they had that refunded, it would still be the same 5,000 yen to have that refunded.
Yeah. Gregor asks, is there a limit to how long you can hold a deposit for?
We've got deposits from 2014 still on the
Wow.
account. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So the answer is no. I mean, you can have your money back. I do wonder if we have people who sent a deposit in and they just forgot about it, because we haven't heard from them in a while.
Yeah.
We've been in business long enough that there's even a chance that some people died. I know it's grim's
That's
to
that's
talk
weird to
about
think
that,
about, yeah.
but it is a possibility. We had one buyer, and one of my favorite buyers of all time, and we knew that he was in his 80s, and then he just disappeared. And we didn't hear from him in 6 months, and we got so worried. And then we contacted him, and he's like, "Nah, I'm okay. Everything's fine. I'm just not importing anymore." And we were like,
The relief. The relief. Okay. Next one, also about prices, and everyone will listen carefully to this one. How do I get discounts, Derek?
Right. So a lot of people want to do this for a business. And when you're balancing costs from one exporter to the other, I think a lot of people focus on the service fee. And then they're like, okay, well, what kind of service fee discounts can you give me if I'm going to sell X or buy X amount of vehicles from you? And so it's not super forthcoming exactly how this works. We do discounts on higher volume accounts, and the discount rate is based on your performance and how much you're purchasing. So those are the two big criteria. Like if somebody is buying 7 cars per year, they'll get a smaller discount than somebody who's buying over 100 cars per year, naturally, because the account therefore takes more time. We can't give, this all makes sense, right?
Yeah.
There are some other details about the discounts. For one, let me just back up. Discounts start at 5 vehicles per year. And if you are already purchasing that amount before you come over to us, then that can start right away. If you're just starting for the first time, then we need to get an idea of how many translations that we do, how many bids that we do per sale. Somebody who is buying every car that they bid on, they buy, which we do have dealers like that, is naturally going to get a bigger discount than somebody who spends 5 hours of our time per sale, because obviously we have to pay for staff and things like that. And so it highly, highly depends. And we need to work with you for several purchases before we understand that rate. We do give you a nominal amount of discount when you are a dealer, even if you haven't made the 5, if you can show that you have been in business for long enough. But that's a different decision for each person. So it's not one we can really say on here. I will say also, though, that when you are a dealer, it opens up several other different options for you, including, and one of the big ones is, we no longer charge any, I want to make sure that I get the wording for this correct.
Yep.
When we ship cars, we add an extra $5 per cubic meter onto the cost of shipping, and this pays for incidental fees. It's very, very common for us to buy a car, send it for shipping, and then we get charged like 8,000 yen for storage because the car couldn't ship right away. And we don't like going back to a customer afterward and saying, hey, pay me an extra 8,000 yen that you didn't know you had to pay just because there was some storage on that vehicle. And so it's very natural for either transport in Japan or shipping to have these surprise fees. It's just not good business. We used to do it this way. It wasn't good business where we would ask for money afterward because we weren't marking up shipping whatsoever. We figured that the best way to handle that was to add an extra $5 per cube, which should be about $150 to the cost of shipping, so that it can pay for these fees, which are on 80 or 90% of the cars that we export. If you are a dealer, you don't have to pay any of those. And depending on the size of the car, this could be a decent amount of discount right from the get-go. I will say that the way that the majority of profit for many of the car exporters here in Japan is derived from markups in shipping, or markups in transport, or markups in insurance, or markups in JEVIC, or things like this, because it's easier for them to post a lower fee on their website to grab those sales and then make the profit elsewhere. And we try to be very forthcoming about how all of that works, and not try to get all of our profits from ways that seem a little underhanded in my way. This is just the way that I want to do the business. But if you are a dealer, you get a full breakdown of exactly how much your shipping costs and exactly how much you paid. Same thing for transport, same thing for storage. We calculate all of that back, and then we give you a little credit at the end. And that credit is usually somewhere around $150 per sale. If you're a dealer, you get that. So even if you're only doing 5 sales per year, you're getting that, and it's a pretty sizable discount, even at 5 cars per year. And it's honest.
Yeah, very honest. Okay, Derek, I want to buy a car from Japan with you. How do I set up an account? What do I need to do to actually bid?
We did answer this one, didn't we? We need the Terms of Service Agreement, which is a section of our website that you can just fill out your details and then submit. We'll need your name, address, which includes the country, phone number. Like, these are things that we actually need when we send cars to you, so we gather those then, and an agreement that you agree with the way that our business runs. If you're deciding, like, I suspect somebody who's watching this show is probably already going to purchase from us, so maybe I shouldn't assume that, but I'd like to think that we look trustworthy. But if you're going with another car exporter, I would be very, very worried about buying one that doesn't have a detailed agreement to what you're agreeing to. That's, in my mind, that's the one probably the most important reason why our customer, we have such a good reputation, is because if people don't agree with all of the terms, they just won't buy from us. And the one way to make a customer madder than anything is they buy a car from you, and then you're like, well, this is the way we do business, and it's different from your expectation, but there was nothing that you signed or nothing that you knew to explain this.
Yeah.
Gross. Yeah. So our terms of service is fairly detailed. You have to read through it. Very important to make sure you understand everything. So if you have questions about anything in there, make sure that you contact us. And make sure that, if English isn't your first language, make sure you understand it well. This isn't so much of a problem nowadays with translation services, but we do have customers from all around the world. For example, we sell to people in Germany, and we want to make sure that those people understand the terms of service. And we have turned down customers that we thought didn't understand fully because of language issues.
Yeah.
We just don't want to be in that position where somebody makes a mistake and then was like, well, we can say, of course, it's in the terms of service, take a look. But it's kind of it comes off a little bit asshole-ish if we're like, we're safe, we got a terms of service, we're safe.
I oftentimes hear when people call that you, Grant, Jacob, or Mike mention, hey, we have the terms of service here. That is something you should actually read, not just agree to, so that we're just on the same page of what kind of service you're getting. And I think that's something that many people don't do anymore. Just accept.
Yeah,
but this
isn't like the iPhone's new terms of service. It's like, you have to agree to this to use your iPhone. Okay, agree.
I wouldn't even say it's like a terms of service agreements. So like, I need to agree to use this, but of course you need to. But it's more like this is the detailed list of what you can expect. And if you are okay with that, you're probably going to be very happy.
The scariest thing is when a customer emails us a question that's in the terms of service that they just signed a week ago. And there are several times where I was like, this was in the terms of service. Furthermore, if you missed this, you probably also missed some other important things.
Mm-hmm.
So go back and read it.
Terms of service line 1. You agree to let PCA sell your soul if you fail to send the full purchase amount. Wouldn't that be a good addition?
Okay, so the other thing you need is a security deposit, which is like we said, an amount that we hold in security, and then the amount depends on how much you want to bid on the car. So cars under 1 million yen will be 100,000. Cars under between 1 million to 5 million is 300,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then over 5 million yen is 50% of the intended bid amount. And the reason why the deposit jumps in price so much there is because we need to pay for the car the literal next day, and we can't receive your money in time for that. So if you're bidding on, and this happens, if you're bidding on a $500,000 car with us, we need to have some of your money to make sure that we don't run out of money, because we don't have we're in Japan. We don't have access to super fast credit like a lot of countries do, because in Japan, that's just not how business usually works. If we were in the States, we could just have a deal with the bank where they can give us up to $2 million by the next business day if we need it. But Japan doesn't really have those sorts of things. If we want to get any sort of financing like that, it takes 2 weeks to get any of the money. So we just have to be very cash heavy. And $500,000 cars is just that one car, and we might be buying 12 cars that day.
Healthy cash flow, I feel, is the most important thing in an exporting company.
Yeah.
Because it's so fast-paced when you have to pay, I guess. So that's the reason.
And the auctions don't mess around with the payments. If you're late, it's like, okay, your entire business model is halted now because you didn't pay for this.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck convincing customers that you didn't run out of money.
Okay. We still have a couple of more questions. Just as a general reminder, I'm screenshotting questions in the chat so we can revisit them in our Q&A section. Next question that we commonly get is, what happens if my car gets damaged in transport?
Damage in transport for ro-ro shipping, which is how we mostly ship, is pretty uncommon. If I were to guess, I would say it's well below 5%. So if you import 20 cars, only one would get damaged. I would say maybe 1 to 3%. You can buy insurance for this type of thing. That's an optional extra. And then the insurance that we offer is very good, and we've received good feedback. So it's not the type of insurance where you're like, I want to make a claim, and then they try to weasel out of it. We've heard good things about it.
Mm-hmm.
If you ship by container, which is something that we also do, the chances for damage are higher. And this is part of the reason why we don't ship by container as often. You also need 4 cars to make it economically viable. But certainly we can set that up for you.
It's kind of the opposite of what you would expect. Like, I'm putting my car in the container. It's going to be safe.
Yeah, the problem is in containers, like, the cars are chained into place and dangling above one another. And every once in a while, those chains will become loose. And I've seen it where like a chain just dangles against a fender or a door or something like that for 3,000 kilometers on the vessel. And you can imagine that'll just mess up your paint. So that happens every once in a while, or like sometimes like a K truck will be on top of another K truck like this. And just because it moves enough, a wheel will fall down. It'll like break your suspension. Like I've seen, we've done container shipping enough to know that just the chances are a little bit higher. I wouldn't say it's super duper high. The safest actually is container with one car on the ground. But anytime you're putting up cars above, you're now introducing new areas where something could go wrong. And then Ro-Ro, this is just a car on the ground that's strapped down to the bottom. And while it does have a little bit of risk in that someone has to drive it into the vessel and someone has to like move it from point A to point B before loading and stuff like that, it's generally less places where it could be damaged. To do container, they're also lifted up by forklift to get in, so that can damage the underside a little bit. And I have seen cars also, like the container doors are fairly small. I've seen somebody forklift a car and just hit it into the door side as it was going in, which I got to assume driving a car onto a Ro-Ro vessel is easier for the staff to do than forklifting a car up and then driving it into a very tight doorway. Yeah. Especially if it's a wide car.
Mm-hmm. So we do offer insurance for the shipping?
I'm not answering this question, am I?
That's why I'm trying to pry.
Insurance is bought by probably 90% of our customers, and like if this is something that worries you, just pay for the insurance and then don't worry about it.
Yeah. Okay, how do I import a car to my country? That's like a very broad question, but
we did semi-answer that. Importing has basically the car needs to be imported and legal in your country, and then it needs to be registered for road use, and these are two separate things. Importing is pretty easy. When you buy from us, you probably want to also hire an import broker in your country. So just type in customs import broker, or maybe even car-specific import broker, because there might be extra features that they could set you up with, like required inspections or things like that. But every country has its own kind of needs for registration, but import should be pretty simple. As long as the vehicle is legal in your country, all you have to do is either do the paperwork yourself, which I don't recommend because a professional really should be doing this. Hire that customs broker, they'll do the paperwork for you. You pay for the fees, which is like you'll have terminal fees, which is fairly small. Excise fees, depending on your country, which are usually pretty small. The big one's usually duty. So duty/taxes. Yeah. You'll usually have to pay a consumption tax and you'll have to pay a duty. And depending on the country, it could vary a lot. There are countries, rare countries, that are over 100% duty. Mm-hmm. And then there are some that are nothing. There are some that are, like many of them tend to range from like 5% to 15% is a pretty normal duty rate per your country. But the customs broker will be able to tell you those things much better than we will. Like we do have good information about that, but these rates do change from time to time, and we can't be certain that a rate hasn't changed for a country we don't ship to on the regular.
I was expecting someone to just write tariffs in the chat, and it did happen, so I'm quite happy with my prediction.
There are currently tariffs that have been deemed, tangent, but I gotta say this, I gotta get it off my chest. Yeah, so the US had the tariffs, right? Yeah. And they're like, surprise guys, 15% tariffs. And then we had 3 customers who imported, and a lot of this is unknown information to every customs broker in the U.S. So this customs broker was like, I don't think that you have to pay for these, so let's not charge them, clear the vehicles, and if there's an issue, you might have to pay something later. Mm-hmm. This is just how it works. So they imported the cars, they got the cars, and then they got a bill for paying those tariffs later. And then the tariffs were deemed illegal. And now customs is like, no. You got to pay for these tariffs. And then the customers are like, no, those are illegal. And so there's this weird, customs doesn't know what to do, and the customers don't know what to do. They don't want to pay.
It's such bad politics, all around. Okay.
Shake my head.
Follow-up question. How are there any extra steps for registration in my country?
We basically just answered that. Yeah, so for most countries, you have to make sure that the vehicle is compliant for road use. So this is usually a roadworthiness inspection. And then usually you have to register it, which is like you have to pay tax and you have to go to whatever your version of a DMV is. So for the most part, it's the same as registering any used car, but there might be something special that you have to do, some sort of compliance you have to do.
I would like to add, when you purchase a car from us, of course, you get the original export certificate, which is most often the key.
The export certificate is the title renamed for export.
Yeah. And I've spoken to someone that works at the German DMV, like the German registration.
Yeah.
And she was the responsible person for imports in Munich at the registration office. And she was like, Japanese export certificates are the best, the
Really?
easiest to work with
I wonder
compared to
why.
any other countries. Because everything looks beautiful, for one, but everything has English on it, too.
Which is so ironic when some countries are like, some countries, only the US does this. But they're like, we need a translation of this document. Idiot, it's English and Japanese in every single field on there. What are you asking for a translation
Yeah.
for? And the fact that it's only the US that does this, but it has happened so many times. Like, we even give a translation of the export certificate. Like, this takes us a decent amount of time to do for all of the cars, simply
make sure.
because some countries like get confused because the person at the DMV isn't used to doing this sort of thing, and it just helps in the whole customer service thing. And then yet they're like, okay, well, that was translated by the person who sold you the car, and so you need to get a notarized version of this by an official registered translator. And then we emailed the official registry of translators in the USA, and we're like, how do you become an official translator? Because we would like to do that. And they're like, it doesn't exist. But the DMV believes it exists.
Weird. Nathan Bell said, I'm having an issue with my export certificate where the DMV doesn't like the wording because they can't prove it was legally transferred to me from the original owner.
Because those people are idiots. I'm sorry that those people don't get a chance to defend themselves, but if somebody is stupid enough, they don't get a chance to.
Important note on that, by the way. If you're looking to do registration stuff, what shows the transfer of ownership will be your invoice from us, not the export certificates. So you may need to walk them through this, but at the bottom of your invoice, there will be a section that says, this document serves to show transfer of ownership from PCA to the consignee.
Oh, good point.
And also the Form 1, if you're in the US, Form 1, I believe it's called. Also, like, you're the consignee on an imported product, so you are officially the owner of it at that point. So it's just a case of people not knowing. Like, the people at the DMV, I'm going to walk back what I said. I think there are a lot of dumb people there, but I think that they're being careful not to allow people to do shady business. And for that, they can be, like, congratulated. Shady business sucks, and if they're being careful for that good, they're barking up the wrong tree.
Gregor also said that our translation doesn't work in Ontario and he needs to get it done by a professional translator.
This is the same problem. What do you mean professional translator? Because we do that for our job. Does that not make us professional? Unfortunately, sometimes it's just easier to do what they say. But a common advice that we say is try another DMV and see if it helps.
Government certified.
Yeah. By which government? The government of Canada. Well, there is no like we talked to people about this. There is no official registry to become a certified translator
in Canada
or in any country we've ever asked.
Interesting.
It's just not a thing, but they think it is because they don't trust the translation that comes from us. And I get it. Anyway, let's go on to the next thing.
Can you do maintenance or fix anything broken before export?
The answer is yes, with caveats, as everything is. Anyone who gives you a simple answer for anything is probably lying to you. So, personal thing. If a car gets broken before export, we're going to have it repaired at one of the shops that we work with and then it should be okay. You have to pay for the cost of that, plus there's a service fee that we charge for setting that up. And the service fee for a mechanic is, Grant, correct me if I'm wrong, it's 10%? 15% on the amount. We try to do as little as possible because our customers usually want to do their own maintenance when the car arrives, because doing it yourself, if you know what you're doing, is well cheaper than getting a mechanic to do it. Some of the problems you'll run into is, one, it's going to take some time and probably delay shipping. And part of the reason why is because mechanic shops, especially decent mechanic shops, are hard to find and are always busy.
That is true.
In Japan, you might be thinking, oh, I understand how mechanics work because I happen to live in the USA or I live in Germany and I know how mechanics work. But it's easy to make an assumption that they're the same in your country as it is in Japan, but that's not necessarily the case. Here in Japan, because most cars on the road are 6 years old, because people go through cars quickly, the value of the car falls, they get into a new car, and just socially, especially in the cities, if you don't have the newest version of a car, you're a loser. Not actually, but that's what people think, and as such, most people have new cars.
Mm-hmm.
And then repair shops don't know how to diagnose stuff. And this drives me crazy. They don't have, I get it, they don't have the experience because they're doing brake pads and ball joints. And that's the only thing that they do, and tire changes and air filter changes and all of these really simple things. So they don't really have that experience of, oh, the car's running improperly. Now, what are the steps I go through to properly diagnose this? And then shops, even if they have that skill, they don't want to do that. Because diagnosing stuff can take so long to run down many different paths of potential errors with the car. And then nobody as a customer wants to say, oh, $700 for diagnosis, and then it was this $15 part to get fixed, right?
But that's the same in any country, I feel.
Sure, but with the skill in, what I'm saying is the skill in Japan is so much lower as a result of them having mostly newer cars here. And of course, every country is going to be different. I don't know what Germany's like, but in Canada, we've got a ton of beaters. So many of the shops are used to these sorts of things. But then the customer's like, well, how come it's taking so long? Or how come they didn't get the right diagnosis? Well, we're kind of stuck in the middle because we're trying to get the best shops that we can. But if we push the shops too much, then these shops don't work with us anymore. And we've actually had shops say, you know what? Every time you bring us a car, it's old and it's got some stupid problem and it takes us forever. Sorry, but not worth it for us.
In the end, they're also just people trying to make a living, right?
And shops, mechanic salaries are low. People who live in big cities like we live in don't have a lot of options for mechanics. We can't send the cars 3 hours away to go into the rural areas that have the higher skills potentially because the cars in those areas, it's a whole thing.
But generally speaking, maintenance or fix to get it shipped. Definitely possible.
Yeah,
we need to.
You're trying to speed this up, eh?
Yep.
There was one other point that I wanted to make. If you want maintenance done in Japan before it gets exported to save like yourself or save time or something, we might recommend not to because we might have a lineup of cars already. Like at any time, we might have 3 or 4 cars waiting for space at the mechanic shops. And as a result, we can't take on new ones. We do see this as a little bit of a weakness. We did hire a mechanic to kind of fix this. It didn't work out as well as we wanted it to for various reasons because it's hard to run a mechanic shop. But we do have intent to move into that sort of thing so we can offer more of those services in the future.
Follow-up question from the chat, Grego. Can you coordinate sending a car to a specialty shop if we wanted and paid for the transit charges?
Yeah, sure. We have done that with shops. We've done mines. We've done a number of popular shops. I don't recall them all.
What was the Subaru shop recently? Prova. Have you done any
We haven't done Nismo, I don't think. Or maybe we have.
The Advance? Was it Advance?
Yeah.
In this area?
Some of the popular shops in this area we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that for you. There may be extra hurdles. We can talk about that in an email if you do want. If you are watching this and you want to know, then send us an email. We can give you better information about that.
Okay. Last 4. Do you take a letter of credit for payments?
Okay, so a letter of credit is a type of payment method that our business model can't support. So, sorry, I'm a little gassy. Something about talking too much makes me want to burp, and I don't want to burp into the microphone.
Yeah.
A letter of credit is, many countries require this as a form of payment, and it's a little bit of a workaround. If you haven't heard of this, your country probably doesn't do it. I know Sri Lanka requires this and several African countries because of fraud. And so the way that it works is the customer pays the bank, and the bank has an official agreement with the Japanese bank. So the customer will pay the bank, the car will ship, and then we send the BL to the bank in here in Japan. Actually, not even here in Japan. The bank on your side. Then that money is released for transfer, and then it goes to us. So the payment doesn't go through until there's proof that the car is being exported. So that you don't send your money and you get nothing, which makes sense. We don't do this because, as we mentioned earlier, cash flow is super important for our business model, and we can't go, like, the car will probably ship within 30 days, and we want that payment before 30 days. Generally speaking, letter of credit is only available for exporters that have inventory and don't do auction direct purchases, because the inventory, they've already taken the fact that they're going to be sitting on money for a while, and they factor that into the cost for the inventory. So you'll find that some car exporters will specialize in places like Sri Lanka because their business model is suitable for that. And so they'll make a little bit of extra profit to pay for the fact that someone's going to hold their money for an extra month. And there's always cost for money that's not in your account. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
So yeah, if somebody from Sri Lanka contacts us, we're like, sorry, can't do letter of credit.
Okay. Can you do left-hand drive conversions?
I'm going to say no. If you need that for your country, then you can buy from one of the exporters that has experience in that. We don't want to get into a position where we say yes to a customer, but we haven't worked with any supplier of this sort of conversion. So we can't give feedback on the quality of the work. And I think that it's because we don't sell to most of these countries that require the conversions. We don't know enough about this, and we don't want to be in over our head. I think that that's probably the best way to put it. These conversions, a lot of them are done by shops in China. I do fear, I don't know if it's true, but I do fear that the quality of the workmanship might be pretty low in some of them, and some of them might be fine, but it would take experience of trying, multiple different companies, multiple different times to see where the ability sits. And somebody who's been doing this for 20 years is going to be well more prepared for you to receive high quality than somebody like us that doesn't have any experience at all yet.
You know what? That would be an interesting standalone video topic to try to do a conversion.
Yeah, actually, that's a fantastic idea. When we're done, put it on our list.
On a cheap car or something, just to try it out and show the process.
Or buy 3 of the same car and send them out to 3 different suppliers and then compare how well that they did.
I'll write that down after the show. Okay. This question came up yesterday. Not because it was asked, but because I think Jacob thought that might be something that people are concerned about. Does getting a report, so the report service that we do, delay the shipping of my car?
Right. The answer is no. So the way that the process...
I'm hyping
So
this
all
up.
you people, make sure you get those reports. So the way that the process works is the day you buy a car, we'll make we'll send you a little survey. And that survey will have options for what you want. Do you want insurance? Do you want a third party to verify the odometer? Do you want to send it to the PCA lot or the port direct? These sorts of questions, right? When we get that in, we'll be able to make you the invoice, which will come to you the next day, and then you have 7 days to pay for it, right? After the auction day, the pickup of the car is usually going to be done on the next day or the day after that, and then it's going to come to either our shop or it's going to go to the port. The auction will then ask this. This is a little complicated. I'm sorry about this. The auction will then ask the seller to supply the documents, because the seller doesn't send the documents to the auction until a sale has been made. So the seller sends the documents to the auction sends the documents to us. And the seller has several days, I think it's 4 days or something like that, to send these documents in. So the amount from the day of purchase until the day we receive the documents is often about 7 days or something like that. It could be less than that. Well, the day we receive the documents, then we put this car as a exportable item into our spreadsheets, and then we book the shipping. So the shipping is booked as soon as we have the documents we need to book the shipping. This makes sure that we are shipping these cars as soon as possible, because the speed of shipping is one of the biggest ways for people to be satisfied with our services, especially if you're a bigger dealer. Once the shipping is done, then we will get the shipping date in line. So we book, say, 13 cars are done on this day and 14 the next day. The ones that were booked first get first priority for shipping, and we never mess with that. We never will give a bigger customer a better shipping time because we like them more. I just hate that kind of stuff. So your car is
first in, first out policy, basically.
Your car is booked for shipping as soon as possible, and then that will stand. And we will ship the car on that day as soon as it can. If you booked the report, this gives us roughly about 30 days, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, to shoot that report. If it turns out that we can't shoot the report for whatever reason in that time, then you'll get an email that says, we don't have time to shoot this report, so do you want us to skip shipping to shoot the report or ship it normally? This happens very infrequently, so it's not something you really have to worry about. I'm talking 1 in 1,000 cars or something like that. And so for the most part, we will get you your report probably about 2 weeks after purchase, seems to be about the time, but it highly depends on how fast the transport is from the auction to us.
Yeah.
If it's USS Yokohama, the car might come the next day and we might shoot the car the next day after that. But if it comes from further away, we might have to wait for a ferry for the car to come from Nagoya to Tokyo and then Tokyo to Yokohama. So it can take 7 or 10 or maybe even 15 days to come to us, depending on transport.
Sometimes when it's super rainy, we don't shoot any. Sometimes
we try not to.
Because
you can't see all the damages so well in the rain. But
and then
sometimes we'll have to.
Previously, we would shoot one part of the report, and then you would shoot the walk around part of the report, and then there were some days in between that. And then I would wait for this final video to be done before sending it out. But generally speaking, what you said is usually how fast it is. Okay.
This is the most exciting question.
The last question, and it's the most important question you are going to have answered today.
He's joking.
Derek, do we export motorcycles?
We do not export motorcycles. But
people call
if you want to import 100 a year, then let us know. We might be able to set something up.
Okay.
The problem is exporting a motorcycle is more expensive than exporting an entire car. And because there's no volume that we do, we can't spread out our costs. And so with cars, we're bringing 50 car purchases to the registration office trip all at the same time. And so we have great systems for that. If we're doing a one-off for a motorcycle, we're going to a different place. We're actually going to that place twice for a motorcycle for whatever reason. We have to drain all the fluids. We have to certify the draining of the fluids, which is something you don't have to do for car exports. You have to put it into a container, but it's only a motorcycle. It doesn't take up much space. So we have to figure out a container that's shared with other companies and has a receiving agent on the other side that can handle a shared container like that. These are all steps that make things much more difficult.
So if someone actually does the volume, then it might be
if someone
possible.
wants to fill a container with motorcycles, this gives us, if we're going to the registration office twice, now we're going for 40 motorcycles. It makes a lot more economic sense. So
okay,
nobody's ever taken us up on that though. The only motorcycles we exported were for pretty much friends, just because.
And that's where you got the experience that it's a lot of work.
It sucks.
Okay, we have 35 minutes left. There were a lot of chat questions.
Okay.
So for everything that we have now for the rest of the show, I kind of want to be quite quick with going through them.
Sure. Grant, let's do car picks.
Let's do it. So this week we're going with the theme of Oops, All Corollas. I found lots of fun stuff.
Oops.
Starting off with the white coupe, if we can, Max. I found an AE86 that is not at USS and we can actually look at, which is super exciting. As you would expect for pretty much all of them you can find these days, this one's been crashed a lot. It appears to have been a track car. It's got a cage and a bunch of other stuff. But at least from the sheet, the rust is not bad, which is better than you can generally hope for. And it's got some cool stuff. It's got a high compression engine with big cams, and it's got an aftermarket ECU and some fun bits and long champs.
Is it the 20, the black top from the...
No, this is an A92 red top high compression.
So the red top is the big port or the small port?
Small ports. Yeah.
Okay.
So, pretty cool.
Sorry.
It's got what looks like Toda cam gears, so it might be Toda cams. I don't know. They don't mention
there's
this.
an
Here's that
engine
they
bay
say
picture.
it has high lift camshafts, but it doesn't say the duration or the lift on
Yeah, they probably don't know. But it's cool.
It is very cool. Grant, what do you think this would go for, like
Well,
in a range?
it's been unsold a couple of times at bids as high as 1.5, so I'm guessing they're looking for something in the neighborhood of 2.
Hey, if anyone from the show buys this, should we take it on Tsukuba?
Oh, you're talking about when we do Mike's going away party,
Which,
which might be at Tsukuba.
ooh,
Fun stuff. All right, moving on to number 2.
Or you know what? We say something like that, we're going to get so many applications into the info box. People are like, oh, you're taking your staff to a racetrack that I know about? Ooh, I want to work there.
Yeah, let's stop risking
No
problems.
tangents. Yeah.
We're trying to get Mike back. Like,
Okay, next up, 1978 Corolla 11 1600 GT. Not as cool as Derek's, but still pretty cool. This one has the first EFI version of the same engine from Derek's car. Makes the same 115
Hold on,
peak
hold on.
HP.
let's just talk about my car just slightly.
Okay.
So 1972 Corolla 11 1600 has the 2TG engine.
Yeah.
115 horsepower ITBs, which this one doesn't have.
True.
And it is so cool and broken right now because the shop that fixed the brakes,
It's still not fixed.
his mechanic who comes in to do mechanic work
Yeah.
is too busy right now. And we're trying to
that's a
put some
shame.
fire onto him. I feel like I could fix the car, but I also don't want to like go there, mess around with it. I just want someone to take care of it.
Yeah. Okay, Grant, back to you.
Yep. Flip side of this one, it may not sound as cool as Derek's, but it will start in any weather.
Oh, excuse me.
I
like-
not a knock on your car in particular. It's just the reality of carburetors.
Yeah.
What about the condition on this specific one?
I love the wheels.
Okay. It's a car from the 70s. It's going to have problems. It's got bad rust in at least one quarter panel. But overall, it's not terrible.
For
It's
the
been-
age, absolutely not.
Yeah, it's been unsold a couple of times, up to about 1.5 million. So kind of like that 8.6, they probably want something in the neighborhood of 2-ish.
I don't think that they'll get to. I think that it'll go through auction and they'll settle around 1.5.
Might well be.
That's absurd that they want that much for this car.
Yeah.
And it's the liftback version, which I believe that they make a sedan version. I think they make a sedan version of this and a liftback.
I actually don't know.
I don't know these too well.
But yeah, it's neat.
I love the brown color. It is so like late 70s, right?
Yep.
I bet it has high pile carpet inside too.
Yep.
Can't
All
really
right.
see it.
On to our last pick. Switching things up a bit.
Another Corolla.
Another Corolla. This is a more modern one and in extremely good condition.
Ooh.
2005 Corolla Runx Z Aero Tourer. You get the 6-speed, you get the 190 horsepower 2ZZ, you get an unassuming Corolla hatchback that revs out to 8,200 RPM. Again, astonishingly good condition for this one. Very low mileage. Get these while you can before they are gone.
Look at it.
50,000 kilometers.
Wow.
So I've driven one of these in the mountains, so I have a good understanding about how they feel. And my take on this is the engine feels so incredibly fun after the camshafts change, but before the camshafts change, it's only a like if the Type R's engines are like a 10 out of 10, then this engine is a 6 out of 10 below that point.
Yeah.
If you compare it to a normal rungs with not the 2ZZ in it, you have basically
You've-
a normal
yeah.
rungs up to 5,500 RPM.
But it's a
then you get
different
all of the
thing.
fun.
A
Yep.
normal Runx is an economy car, and this one is supposed to be a performance car. And so, because you're measuring it with a different stick, it does disappoint at a different level.
Yep. Which is why I discovered once doing research for myself looking into these, it is very common to put an aftermarket ECU on them and reflash it so that the cam changeover comes about 1,000 RPM earlier.
Yeah,
Which
I
would
wouldn't
make
hate
sense,
that.
yeah.
And let me just double point out, when the cams hit, this engine is fantastic. It's definitely, they cared more about the performance at higher RPM than at lower RPM. You just have to understand that, like a turbo with turbo lag.
Yep. Cool car.
So, is this front wheel drive or all wheel
Front wheel drive.
Front wheel drive.
You can get the Runx in all-wheel drive, but not with this engine.
4.5 BB. Not many notes.
Buy
on the
this
sheet.
one and get a video from Max.
Yes.
A free video.
Yes.
That is super professional. Max used to work at Porsche.
Not for doing video though.
I know, but you used
I
to
did
work at
a
Porsche.
few videos, but
For Porsche.
primary. Yeah, but not primary. Need that engine in the BB, Derek.
I don't think it's an easy swap.
Okay, so this week.
Also, I don't know how to swap engines.
Oh, wait, I want to do something. This week at PCA.
Oh, callback. Okay, we got a few different topics here. We're going to get them in the next 30 minutes, which should be good, I think.
No, not the. We still have the Q&A. So no 30 minutes for this week at PCA.
27 minutes. Okay.
No. 10 minutes maximum.
You want to do that many questions?
There are a lot of questions.
Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is something that people have been pointing at for a little bit. I wanted to see what you think about this, but also what people in the chat think about it. So there's this new movie coming out. It is called Drifter. It is Sung Kang is the director and stars in it. If you don't know, he was Han in the Fast and the Furious franchise. There he is. Of course, he's leaning against a car because that's kind of his thing. The synopsis. I want to read the synopsis from the website there. Max, do you want to do it in like a cool, deep tone?
Wait a second. What can we do?
Because I can't do the cool. We should get Jacob to do it, honestly.
Try this. Oh, no, that's
okay, I'll just read it. Cool. In a forgotten desert town, a solitary racetrack janitor with a gift for drifting is haunted by his tragic past. Given a single chance to compete at a pro drifting event, he discovers his raw talent is useless without the one thing he's always avoided: connection with others. Okay? Mm-hmm. Under a hardened mentor, I know who his mentor is. I watched some of the clips because they're all over the internet at the moment. Mm-hmm. He must learn to trust his found family and transform his untamed, lonely art into a dangerous dance of partnership, or be consumed and controlled by the past he's desperate to escape. Okay, so it's not a major Hollywood studio that's making this. It is his production company that is making this movie, and it's a little bit of a Hail Mary, I suppose you could say, because usually small companies don't get very big exposure, and usually the marketing on a film matters an awful lot about the performance of the film. Mm-hmm. This is being marketed exclusively through car communities. So he's doing a ton of YouTube partnerships with people. Yep. He's done Larry Chen and Dino and Adam LZ, who, by the way, is in this movie. Did you know that?
I haven't spent too much of my time looking at this movie. It, to me, felt like a from a car guy to car guys kind of thing. So I'm not expecting blockbuster Hollywood polish on it. If it's just a nice homage to the scene, then I'm already happy with it. But I do expect it to be somewhat corny-ish.
I'm a little nervous about the corniness of it. There's this one part where it's introducing the actors. Can we actually go there? Go to gallery, up at the top.
Yep.
And then this one here, the film's central character. His name is Tree, which is an odd name, but whatever.
This is not because of the browser. This is the way the website is designed.
Mine was actually... No, go back to Tree. I want to read it. Struggles to express himself with words, but finds his voice through his cars. So drifting reflects his isolation, and this is the point, while tandem drifting represents trust, letting someone come dangerously close and believing that they won't let you down. I have a little bit of a fear, and I wrote down my fear here. I want to make sure that I get the the wording right. I'm worried that they're going to lean into this sappy spiritual connection between cars and people, almost like a car is its own spirit, and you as a person will be connected with the car, and then that car in representation to another car is connecting to another person. Tandem drifting represents trust. Oh no, I don't trust people. I don't know if I can drift next to you. Oh, now I trust you, so I can actually do the drift.
I think to walk you back on that, I think tandem drifting is a lot about trust, because you need to find your match. You need to trust the other person to not completely destroy your car.
Max, I think you're right. I also don't think that's something you can build a movie plot around.
Correct. So I don't like movie predictions too much. I'd rather just watch it and see what it is. be
Okay,
quite
but we're
frank.
also doing a show where people are interested in our takes for movie predictions. Potentially, I don't know if people care about this.
That's my.
But
that's-
I'm
that's my
really
take.
interested in seeing this, and one of the reasons why is because Fast and the Furious, as much as it's like it's fun to watch, but it started off as a car guy movie, and even the third one, Tokyo Drift, even had some car guy stuff in it. But they didn't really get the car guy stuff in the same way that, say, Initial D did. The very nerdy, very specific car guy thing that every car guy is going to watch and go, oh yeah, that's attention to detail that I don't get in other movies. And I love that kind of stuff. And I feel like this might be that. In particular, did you notice that James from Speed is in it? And Rutledge Wood from Old Top Gear, do you remember?
Mm-hmm. The chat's like, no way.
Yeah, we don't know these people. Like the car community knows these people, but people outside don't. And James used to want to be an actor. That was his. That's what he wanted to do
now
before he was
has
on Donut.
Yeah, okay. That's. I mean,
Sorry, I was making a
Fast and
point. I want to make
Furious
sure
one
that I want
was
to make it.
very Fast and Furious 1 was very corny and niche, but everyone loved it.
Well, it had
after
a
a couple of
broader
years, at least.
appeal.
Yeah. So maybe this will be the same. Maybe it will not. I'm happy it exists.
There's something that excites me in this, and you don't see it in car movies. In a car movie, they have the car that everyone pays attention to. The Gone in 60 Seconds Eleanor, right? But the car never really progresses throughout the film in a way that a real car does. Like if you own a project car, then every year this car is a little bit different. And in this movie, you get to see that with the main character's car. And they actually show that here with a very detailed breakdown of every modification that the car has in the 3 phases of the movie.
Which
And
is a really nice touch. Yeah.
by the look of it, it goes from a 4-cylinder, like just regular 4AG engine, into an LS3 swap, back into a 4AG with a turbo. I don't know which, like they say Lola 1, Lola 2, and Lola 2B. And Lola 2 has the V8, and Lola 2B has the OS Geeken components, which is probably a different head, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Grant, does OS Geeken make a different head for the 4A?
Nope, that's transmission stuff.
Oh, is it? Well, they say the engine has OS Geeken components.
Yeah, that's...
Wouldn't that be crazy if they roll this out with a
Weird.
collab where they make a new head for the 4A?
Yeah, that would be kind of crazy. That's true.
Because OS Geeken does do that, right? The Fair Lady has a twin cam head, and I think something else.
That is
Anyway,
true.
Yeah.
let's go on to the next topic. I'm excited to see it. I'm a little bit worried it's going to be sappy.
Yep.
Next topic. We got a picture for this next one. I didn't notify you before the show, so it might not be loaded.
We have this picture.
Okay. I had another picture too. I guess I forgot to put it in, but our cool JDM tree, the one that we grew on our lot accidentally in the pile of tires,
Yep.
is like 3 meters tall now. And as of this week, it has leaves. So the first thing I did is took a picture of the leaves and then went onto the internet to try to find out what kind of tree that it is. And it is one of these trees.
So it will potentially be this big.
Yes, apparently
Shade
they
in the
grow. They grow really quickly for the first third of their life, and then they slow down, and then they grow slowly.
So what tree
It is called a Zelkova tree. It is native to Asia, and it is part of the elm tree family. They are common in parks for their beauty. They also change color quite nicely throughout the seasons, for going from green to yellow to a bright red in the fall.
Yeah.
And so I'm quite excited about our cool JDM tree. And Mike, now he doesn't work here, but he is not a threat, tried to pull it out. I totally, if we get a bigger shop, I want to pull that out and plant it in our new shop.
Yeah.
I will forfeit the 1.5 meters between the wall and the tree that we can't park cars, specifically for that.
Okay.
Next thing. We have a commercial to watch. Yoicks. Okay, so the Ken Mary GTR. There was the Hakoska GTR in the 60s that everybody knows. You can get it in two-door and four-door. Then they made the next generation called the Ken Mary Skyline. In my mind, the better looking of the two, but the less popular because it wasn't the first GTR. It was the second GTR using the same running gear and a updated body. I think that they are mega gorgeous.
It's not on the screen yet. You can
Okay.
keep talking about it quickly.
They
though.
made it in 1973. Then there was the oil crisis in 1973 where nobody wanted to buy performance cars, so Nissan pulled it before it even got traction. And so they only made 197 of them. And one of them is coming up to auction. We do have the auction number if you want to take a look, but it's a USS car, so we can't actually show it to you. So it's USS Tokyo 10066, and the start price, Max, 51 million yen.
Starting.
That's 300,000 US dollars. Starting price. Now, last time I saw one of these come up, they're so rare that you never see them come up for auction.
Mm-hmm.
Last time that I saw one, I might have missed one, but the last time I saw one was over 10 years ago. And that one sold for 18 million, which would have been at that time and at that exchange rate 150,000 US dollars.
Yep.
10 years ago.
Yep.
So how much is this going to sell for? I don't know. We're going to watch just a commercial for it because it's called Ken and Mary, because it had like a whole series of a romance arc between some guy named Carrie and some girl named Ken. Some guy named Ken and some girl named Mary.
Yep.
And we're going to show you one of them that is about mid their relationship.
Are we going to get copyrighted for this?
Maybe.
Men and Carrie. But the American... This car was never sold in the US.
This is what commercials were like in the 70s.
I wonder what the decision was from the marketing department here.
I think the 70s in Japan were very unique.
Oh, it's got an original song.
Yeah.
That song is kind of...
夏は優しい風の中で何も考えずペンとメリーのスカイライン
Ken Tomeri, no Skyline. And then, so if you want to watch all of them, their entire arc, then you can. It's I think a 12-minute long video. You can see the title of it there on the screen.
I'll just paste it in the chat, I guess.
But don't watch that until this show is over.
Yeah.
Okay, on to the next thing at auction again. It's a shame we can't show these USS
Yeah.
ones. We need to get special permission just for this show, because this is advertising for the auction, right? USS Tokyo 65168. And we've got a picture.
We've got a picture of a general car.
So this
of
is an
type.
RA28 kind of, I would say first generation Celica. This is not the one, but we can show that on the screen. It is one of these that looks very slightly different.
But what is underneath all of
The
that sheet
important
metal
point
is
is
important.
this is no longer this generation would have the 18RG, the 2-liter twin cam 8-valve engine that puts out 120 horsepower. It is now a 210 horsepower your engine.
It's an
Beams
Altezza drivetrain.
3S GE Altezza engine in there, and they swapped the suspension for a more modern 4AGE suspension, so it should even handle better.
AE86 suspension.
Yeah, sorry. The AE86 suspension. And I think this would be incredible.
Yes.
I think that there is a decent difference between the 70s Toyotas and the 80s Toyotas and how they perform and handle. And I think that this one gives you the styling that you want from the 70s, but a little bit more modern in terms of 210 horsepower and 850 kilogram car would be so good.
Mm-hmm.
Or 900 kilogram car. I don't know how much they weigh.
3SGE beams, if all of the sensors are in order.
I know why you're saying that.
It's so good. Like recently I've been just driving like a dick, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
I have never heard you say that terminology. That must be very exciting for you.
Mm-hmm.
In the car, I'm a dick.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not gonna talk about this too much. We got one more thing to talk about, and it is relating to the Celica. We'll just gloss through this quickly.
Yeah.
Pull up the picture of it first.
I think it is.
And we have
here.
actual new information about the Toyota Celica. We've been hearing about this for the last 20 years when there has been no Celica. There were some spy shots taken at the end of March about it, and here is the spy shot of it. Now, it hasn't been fully confirmed that this is the new Celica, but information lines up that they are going to be replacing the GR Yaris in rally with the new Celica, which has been confirmed now.
By the marketing director of Gazoo Racing.
Wonderful.
In an interview with Autocar. So this is
So it is authentic.
source.
And of course, Celica has a I wouldn't say a long rally history, but certainly a substantial one. The GT4s for the ST165, 185, and 205 were all very influential in rally driving.
I mean, even going back into the 80s, you got like the King of Africa Celicas and...
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So we can say that was a long history with rally driving. So this one is confirmed now to be 4-wheel drive and 4-cylinder, which is a big deal because they're not going to throw in the GR Corolla engine.
Because
it's
of
not
emissions.
a 3-cylinder. Actually, that's why that engine is just going away. So they might be putting this 4-cylinder into the GR Yaris and GR Corolla moving forward.
Yeah.
Because they currently, with the new version of it, they can't sell the 3-cylinder in Europe.
Or, hear me out, MR2.
And that's Akio
on the
Toyota
roadmap.
said that.
Yeah,
He's
it's
like,
on the
I
roadmap.
want the Supra, I want the Celica, and I want the MR2. To me, those are the 3 important ones. Now we've got two of them. This one's coming out soon. Should
Or
be
maybe
next year.
A new like GT86 is also rumored to get a normal inline.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
If they
yeah.
can share that engine with a bunch of sports cars. But the kicker though is it's going to be a hybrid.
Don't do that. If I trust anyone to do a hybrid properly, it's either going to be Ferrari or Toyota, and more likely Toyota, honestly. But still, the thought of a hybrid, like we're talking 400 to 450 horsepower is an estimate. That hasn't been confirmed. And probably a 2-liter, but again, that hasn't been confirmed.
Yeah.
But 400 to 450 horsepower, even like combined with the hybrid, the problems with hybrid should probably be resolved by that extra power. I would be a little bit worried if they keep regen braking.
I think they can do a better job than Honda at getting this right.
Also,
I think they can also do a better job than Mitsubishi.
it just
or
occurs
Suzuki.
to me. I was just watching a review recently. One of the new Toyota SUVs in the U.S., I think it's the current RAV4 or something, has a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder hybrid, where the hybrid is not used for regen or for fuel economy or anything so much. It is purely as a torque booster to fill in the gap until the turbo comes on.
Mm-hmm.
So they may be moving in that technological direction anyway.
He said, like the marketing director said, it's not decided yet whether it will be a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. So we don't know.
Weird.
Yep. Okay, questions. There were a lot of questions which I
Let's do
want
this.
to cover. And I've taken screenshots of all of them. When will the new site be live? And this is about the auction tool.
Max has been working on the new auction tool together with a developer and with me just being kind of the overseer of everything, but I'm kind of hands off for a lot of it. So Max, when is the new auction tool going to be released?
So at the moment we are doing the final things in the back end, which is mostly the process of closing any of the customer's bid. So say you won or lost a car, that whole process has a back end thing going on, which is probably the most complicated logic of all of the system.
The whole thing is way more complicated than we assumed going into it. Like 5 years ago is when we started this, and it's been solo developed by a single developer. Up until recently, we've hired some more people to the team just as part-time developers, and we are pushing to get it out.
Yeah.
Because it has been a long time coming. But this should revolutionize the way we do business so that you can get translations faster, confirmations and bids faster, and have a better understanding about exactly where everything is without sending us an email. So it should be a game changer.
The way that we do is we work in 2-week sprints. At least we try. And that's every 2 weeks we have like an update meeting, and in between, of course, we do exchange information, but within the next 2 weeks, we kind of wanted to get that final step done. And then it's just a thing of us breaking it before saying, okay, everyone now can use it.
I kind of feel like we'll say everyone can use it, and then we'll find some little broken parts.
How will the new site/auction tool be different than the current one? We showed it in one of the. It was
A while ago.
It will look much, much better. That's the big one. And you can get email notifications for everything. You have a notification center. You can communicate with us directly.
It's
through it.
much more modern, right? The old tool, nothing has changed in 20 years.
Yeah.
It's been the same thing. And like this one is...
I will say some of the filtering options have been reduced when you search for cars.
But
so it's
using our experience, like we know what's best for the customer, and the old one just had a lot of options that weren't used and just cluttered things up.
Yeah.
So we want this to be a better service for people just jumping into buying at the auction so they can understand a lot more clearly how everything works. It's got some really cool things. Like one problem that we have is people sending in auctions that are coming up in like 3 minutes and they don't have enough time for translation, or one that has already passed or was yesterday or something like that. So the new system will notify you exactly how long with a color-coded button to click into it. So it's like, oh, this one's red, that means it's already passed, and it says auction has passed. A whole bunch of very like things that we wish that we wanted for so long. And then on the back end, really the way that we organize our bids is no longer going to be done in an Excel spreadsheet.
Yep.
Now it's going to be integrated right into the system. So this just simplifies everything. And the key thing that I'm looking forward to, I know this is on our side more than the customer side, but it's now going to organize the bids automatically by auction time, so that when a new bid comes in, it'll be slotted in exactly in the list according to the auction time, so that we can just go down the list and translate the closest to the auction time, instead of coming here in the morning, having 25 emails and going, click, check auction time, write down.
Yeah.
Click,
Yeah.
check auction time, write down. And then going, okay, this one, and then maybe this one.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Just-
great.
a few more questions in regards to that I want to answer. Will we be able to request and see USS pictures on the new website? Yes. If you have an account set up with us.
There's a
you
button, request images, right?
Yep. And will it have email notifications for your searches? Yes, you can save searches, like pre-save a search query, and then select if you want to get email notifications for them or not.
And that works now, and we use it in the office, and it's super fun to every day get an email going, here are all of the cars that you want.
Yep.
And you can set the criteria. I'm only looking at Skylines with 60,000 to 80,000 kilometers, and it'll just email you those ones.
Yep.
It's very cool.
Next one, BMX Kelowna. What are Japanese import rules like? Do we have a 15-year rule?
No, anything goes. You can import whatever you want, pretty much.
Cool. What's a widely available car in Japan right now that you guys think will become a future classic? You know what I'm going to say.
I think I'm going to say what Max is going to say. It's the BRZ GT86.
Yes.
That's a damn good answer. I don't have anything better than that.
NC Roadster? Not really
We have
widely.
talked about that, but like...
I think the ZN6 generation takes the cake.
And of course, the GR
Absolutely.
Yaris and the GR Corolla are going to be quite popular in 10 or 15 years. It highly depends on what happens now, because manual transmissions are pretty much getting phased out for most manufacturers of almost every unit. And I think that's going to play a big part in what becomes available now, because I'm sure manufacturers are like, oh, people pay an extra $30,000 for the manual transmission version of this car. Maybe this is something we can bake into some of these modern cars that we're making.
Yeah. Okay. How often do you see, Grant, this is also for you, Altezza JCE15s at auction?
So that's the 3-liter Jita. The answer is not often. They are pretty uncommon, and they can be surprisingly expensive when they do come up. Expect to pay north of 1 million yen for one when you can find it. We see maybe 2 or 3 a month.
The reason why there's not too many of them is because it was a stupid idea for Toyota to sell those
In Japan.
in Japan
Yeah.
originally, because the way that the tax systems work here, it made the car much more expensive to run when the 2-liter version of it is much cheaper. And you can get it with the 1JZ, a phenomenal 2-liter
No, you
engine.
cannot.
Not the Cheetah.
No, you get it with the 1G.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I just said the wrong engine code. I was thinking the 2-liter 1G, which is...
I wish we could get it with a 1J.
No, you can't get it with the 1J. 1G engine.
Okay. Jargot has asked, any experience with wheelchair, welfare cab vehicles? I need one for my grandma. I like the simple ramp at the back style, for example, Toyota Rectis. Do you have any recommendations?
I do wonder if wheelchairs in Japan might be a little bit smaller than wheelchairs in other countries. So you would the only wheelchair cars we've actually bought were the high aces, and we buy several of those for people who like campers because they want the high roof one with the windows in the top to make conversions. They have this really cool system where they have wires with hooks. So you put the wheelchair in and then you hook on just all of the wheels, and then it goes and it sucks it down, which seems like it would work just fine because that system would be useful for different sizes of wheelchairs. But if you were looking at something that's more economical and small, they might have a tighter physical area that doesn't fit a wheelchair, whereas the high ace would be fine. So I would be a little bit worried about buying one of those, which doesn't have a huge secondary market if it doesn't work out for you. Like, are people really going to be like, oh, I want that Nissan Note with a wheelchair ramp in the back?
I guess, though, you could find on the internet the space that you have for
Yeah.
it. If you do
Yeah, you probably
Google
could.
Translate and stuff.
The manufacturer sites, if they're still around, will have that data on it for sure. It's an odd question. I would honestly get a high ace, but I know that's not what everybody needs.
Okay, Suraj Rajput asked, is 200,000 kilometers a lot for the 2JZ engine?
For most Toyota engines, it's not too much, but for a car to get 200,000 kilometers here in Japan, it's probably going to be pretty old. And honestly, the 2J engine is pretty old. So people think, oh, this engine is reliable. While that's true, when an engine is 25 to 35 years old, no engines are reliable at that age. And so I can't, you're not going to be problem free. Like 3S, known reliable engine, can go up to 400,000 kilometers, but you've had multiple problems with yours that had to do with little electronics on it, right?
It's not, it all comes down to what you think of is reliable. I think there's no engine that is reliable out of the box in the sense of, I buy this car and then I drive it 400,000 kilometers without issues. It's going to be, I buy the car, I spend money on maintenance. Sometimes plastics have a half-life cycle and break down, and then you need to replace things. What is reliable in that sense?
I think also, like with the 2J in particular, people they associate reliability with the ability for the vehicle to handle lots of power, which is true, but that's the mechanical parts of the cars, not the electronic parts that are more likely to fail. So yeah, like water pump, bearings, and like how robust is it against boost? Like how well the structure of the block and the head actually are, how well the engine breathes with the higher power. These types of things don't really matter too much in longevity for your regular user of the engine, because without modifications, many Toyota engines are lasting to 300 or 400, including that one. But yeah, something is going to fail that is outside of that. Your air speed controller is going to fail or something like that.
I think it also depends on which car the engine is in. So maybe a high modified Supra 2JZ is more prone to having issues than a low mileage, or not even low mileage, but a well kept Crown Royal Saloon, for example.
Right.
Okay.
Interesting question.
Fitzgerald, what is the most common car at auctions?
The most common car.
Corolla? Like new Corollas?
Not here in Japan. I would say like if you're looking at new cars, probably the Yaris Cross. Those things are crazy.
They are everywhere.
Honda
Yaris
Vezels.
Cross, Honda Vezel, Toyota Alphard, some of the pedestrian K cars, I guess, like the Mira or something.
Yeah. The N-Box would probably be pretty up there. And then industrial trucks like the Isuzu Elf or the Mitsubishi Canter. They are very high in commercial. I don't know. Like, if you're from the USA, then none of those answers mean anything to you. But there aren't commonly... Sure, there are lots of 25-year-old cars at auction, but they're still only 10% of the entire total of cars at auction, right?
Yeah. Can you guys buy from private sellers?
Sure. Yeah, you can buy from private sellers. We do about 3% of our
The
sales.
question is private sellers in a sense of someone is...
Let me back up a little bit. Japan, for the most part, doesn't really have private sellers because of the complexity of actually selling a car is higher here than many other countries. And generally, people don't understand the process, and it's something that's done by professionals anyway. So it's odd for somebody to do a private sale of their car. When it does happen, it's usually unique cars, like car enthusiasts selling to another car enthusiast. There isn't really a great place to look for listings of an individual selling a car, and places like Yahoo Auctions are 95% these people who are car dealers, but they're not actually registered as a car dealer, and then you don't know if they're actually an individual or a dealer, but they're probably a dealer. It's a little weird and a little unintuitive if you're used to private sales being very popular, which they are in most countries.
Okay.
That said, we don't buy from private sellers because of security risk and because many of the private sellers don't know what they're doing, especially if they're foreigners. And this creates a lot of headaches when we're like, okay, let us teach you something and spend a number of hours and you'll still get it wrong. And if we don't have good communication with you, like, this is a much bigger problem than you assume that it is. And then the fact that these cars almost don't exist means it's a problem that doesn't need to be denied all that often, because you're probably not going to find a individually sold car that you want to buy here. It's mostly either going to be a dealer, which yes, we can do, or from the dealer auctions.
Okay. Gregor has asked, has the cost of ro-ro shipping gone up because of the fuel prices going up?
Yes. So the cost of shipping will have two parts. It has the regular cost of shipping and then the BAF. And the BAF is a fuel surcharge, basically. So what they do is they predict how much the oil is going to be in the next quarter. And then every 3 months, they adjust this BAF level up and down. So you will get fluctuations in the oil prices. And while we don't have set prices for how much the current problem in the Strait of Hormuz is causing, it will roll into the next update. And so the prices will probably go up a little bit. I would suspect probably in the range of about 15% what they currently are.
There is a reminder that we are over time.
Yep,
But
and
I
we
do
really got to
want
be
to
strict about that. So we got to close this down.
No further questions then.
You got an important one?
Do we have a WhatsApp number?
We don't do any business in WhatsApp because it's terrible. Like, you don't realize how important it is to have proper communication in a complex process like this. And email just gives you the tools that you need instead of chat. You want to remember what you heard 3 months ago. You don't want to be scrolling through WhatsApp to try to find that. Emails give you proper searching tools for that. And this is important for your side, but also for our side, because we want to make sure that we give you proper service. So it is something that a lot of people are asking for because it's the way that many people are communicating these days. But if you were to side-by-side check the purchase process between one or the other, especially one where something's complicated or goes sideways, you really need the tools of an email.
Okay. One last question. Thank you for the timekeeping in the chat. I appreciate it. I think it's a good question to close off with.
Sure.
How much of a hand-holding can we expect from being a first-time buyer on a 30K or lower vehicle? I just want to make sure that this would be a customer that is worth your time. He's trying to be a nice customer and asked, like, how much can we expect as a customer from us?
It might be a better question to ask by email, actually, because that was just a question and I need more context for that. So I would have follow-up questions that I would need to ask to kind of understand what your level is. And like, for the most part, we rarely ever, probably almost never, turn down customers. But we want to make sure that, like, there's a certain level of understanding that you have and that we understand. And so really an email is the only way to get a good answer for that.
Yeah.
Is there something missing there?
I'm thinking about, like, on emails and calls, we oftentimes go into great detail explaining the process and trying to, like, educate the customer and not be like, you need to press the bid button here, buy.
Yeah,
pretty much.
And it's understood on the company level that there are going to be some customers that buy from us that actually don't profit us because the amount of time that we take to explain things is going to be worth more than the amount of profit that we get from it. And this is like, if I were to guess, I'd say 20% of first-time buyers don't profit us at all. They cost us. And so it sucks, but it also sucks for us to be like, I don't think that you're good enough and I'll turn you down, because that would potentially ruin our reputation for anyone else. And it's pretty common for somebody who buys a car to therefore buy another car not too long in the future from us because the first experience was pretty good. And so if we lose money on the first one, we can potentially gain money on the next one. That's just how it works.
Okay. There's the music in the background. I would like to thank Grant for his extensive hand-holding recently.
Yes, to all the people saying nice things about me in the chat, thank you.
I do wonder what Grant was thinking about that when I'm like, our sales reps will do this and our sales reps will do that.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
See you in the next week.
Yeah, you know what? I want a timer for like when you press the start of the song. We have a little timer, like a phone could do this, right? Anyway, yeah, we're done. Bye everyone.
So long, cause we really gotta go. See you next week on the Cool JDM show.
But Abs,
What up?
I got so much on my plate.
Man, relax. Let me demonstrate. Put your headphones on and start multitasking. Listen to the show while running some laps. Then stretching your calves. Then go have a bath. Then let the cat out. Then let the cat back in. Then let it back out again. Then let
Yeah,
it
we can move on from the cat thing, Abs. I get it.
Oh, really? Then get this, Mr. Smartass. You can also listen while attending an art class.
Damn, Abs, you did it again.
Yeah. Just don't forget to tell a friend. The Cool JDM show, the coolest around. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell the whole damn town. Tell the doctor, tell the nurse, tell the secretary, tell the librarian in the library. Tell the cop trying to give you a speeding ticket.
Officer, the Cool JDM show, don't miss it.
To which you'll reply, you're free to go, cause that podcast is so unbelievable.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna tell everyone that I know
To tune in to the Cool JDM show.